Man, because of the thought that, or the reality that I shared a little bit too openly some violent thoughts with YouTube, it tarred me with this monkey or being, the next school shooter, which is the joke about yours truly, but it's just a bunch of bullshit.
I'm a rich bitch now.
No, 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 no. Anyways, sorry, I was watching Vice's. I had to rub a bank. It's just not that they actually give you any good advice on how to do it. They're just telling a story. Yeah, but anyways, I just thought it was interesting that they titled it that way. That was all. Anyways, they called me that, and I had some thoughts about that, and I was thinking about it and everything, and I was thinking about why I would never actually do it, and the more that I thought about it, the more that I realized that I wouldn't like the people that I'm angry at. They're not worth the jail time, and if they're not ultimately worth the jail time, at the end of the day, then I mean, how far would you have to go to get away with the crime of doing it? And then I thought about, forensic science and how far along it ultimately is at this point, and I'm thinking, so you're gonna have to spend some cash on getting surgery tools. If you use a gun, you're gonna have to spend some money on getting a plastic spacesuit that's detachable, that has a detachable oxygen supply, in one of those oxygen canisters. A gun, you're gonna have to build a makeshift forge, you're gonna have to have these surgery tools and a table to put the body on so that you can retrieve the gun and the gun fragment, and then you're also going to be needed to live on a farm, which is something that I'm also not willing to do because you're going to have to be raising pigs, in order to get away with it. And the more that I thought about it and processed it, the more that I realized that it's easy to get away with something like copyright infringement. Just hide behind a fucking VPN, and then even if they don't have anybody that they can report, the torrent swarm to. But getting away with murder is like, okay. So what you do is you make sure that you're in the suit. That way you don't leave behind fingerprints, a hair follicle. It doesn't come with you or anything, and you shower all that shit off too before you leave the person's place. You shoot them. You take the body with you onto your surgery table. You pull the bullet out of the body, and you also, before you leave, you make sure to sweep up the shell casings on the gun as well. And then after your makeshift forge that you've built, you throw the gun, the bullet, the casings, all of it into the forge, destroying it. You feed the body to some pigs that you've starved for about 3 or 4 days, and then you go in and clean the pen out and grind up any remaining bone fragments or anything else that the pigs haven't eaten, because they will eat most of it. True, at that point, you've got no gun, you've got no body, you've got no weapon to examine. The forensic teams are not able to tie the weapon together to do any analysis that makes that they can track the triangles or like this to see if it actually matches up, on the little thing they do to match the gun, the striations on the bullet to the gun. No, because the weapon's been literally reforged into jewelry for somebody. And that essentially throws all the forensic scientists off. But is that worth it? I mean, for somebody like me who's in love with all the trappings of civilization, being across the street from a grocery store, benefiting from the divisions of labor that are induced. Like, I'm an urbanist through and through. Do you think I want to move out to the countryside? One thing that really weirded me out was all these internet trends for shit like cottagecore, because there's no place in me that wants to do anything like that, and wouldn't rather self-immolate than ever go down that path. I don't think I'll ever be able to relate to it at all, at any level, even slightly. That would be a fucking nightmare come true for me. So I don't get the cottagecore trend. It doesn't make any fucking sense to me. Why the hell would you want that? You know, it sounds like a fucking nightmare. Anyways, it's nice because out here in the city, we don't have to do everything ourselves. We don't have to be entirely self-reliant. We can have somebody go out and hunt for us and put the meat on the supermarket shelf. We don't have to go out and kill the fucking animal ourselves and butcher it itself and cut it up in order to eat it. It's nice. And so I don't understand people that want that. And so I got tarred with this because, yeah, I mean, I don't like the assholes on the other side of the aisle. I don't like the fucking Republicans. I'd love to do something terrible to them, but I'm not the kind of person that would ever do a crime unless I had a coherent plan for how to get away with it. And so, I do know how you could get away with murder, but see, is it worth the hassle? No, it isn't. It's not worth all the sacrifices you'd have to make. And then where. Do you know how much money it would cost to fully prepare to do something like that? So if I ever, I don't know, start to pack up my shit in order to move out to some farm somewhere and start raising pigs, watch out. But I'm not. I have no plans like that. It's not even just my conscience. It's the fact that covering everything up and making it, throwing the cops off the trail is a lot is a great big amount of work that I'm not willing to go through. See, my prefrontal cortex has anticipated the consequences of this one and has thought about it thoroughly and has thought about all the things that I would have to do in order to get away with it. And I'm aware that YouTube can there are guides on how to build your own, a small scale kiln to melt metal. But yeah, I just, yeah, what a great big pain that would be. So no, you can relax. I'm not gonna hurt anybody because, in order to do it, I'd have to be damn certain I could get away with it. And I don't think the process of trying to go through all that effort to get away with it would be worth it.